Hello, coworkers. My name is Bridgette, and welcome to the Employee Lounge podcast. Hello, coworkers. I'm so happy that you're back tuning in and listening to the Employee Lounge podcast. I hope you had a great weekend. It was a long weekend. We had Valentine's Day and President's Day. I hope you got the day off. But if you didn't, I still hope you had a great weekend, and I hope it was filled with love and romance and happiness. So, thank you for tuning in once again. And for today's topic, I thought, why not go down memory lane? I am going to be talking about my first job ever and my first corporate job ever. And I thought it would be fun to just give you a little overview, a little background of mine, and see where it all started and how both jobs helped me with my career. It's a very interesting connection. So I hope you go down memory lane yourself, because it's always fun to just reminisce and think about the past and see where the past took you into your journey, into your great future, right? So join me and let's go down memory lane. Okay, so my first job ever. So I was hired in my junior year of high school, and I got my first job at a kids establishment. If you know, you know. I'm not going to say the name, but if you know the kids establishment, that's the one. So, funny story, I didn't do like any research about it. I wasn't like really looking for a job. I just decided one day I'm going to get a job because one of my best friends was hired and started working already at this kids establishment. So I thought, this might be a good idea, and why not apply too? So that's what I did. I went to this kids establishment and I walked in, and when I walked in, I looked around and I was like, okay, this has got to be an easy job. I'm going to have fun, right? We'll get into that later. But I walked in, I went straight to like the cashier area and I asked for an application. I got the application, I completed it right there, and then I turned it in and I left. So when I left, I was like, okay, I am not going to get my high hopes with this. It's my first job ever. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to stress out about it. Internally, I was stressed out about it because, oh my gosh, I wanted my first job ever. But really, I was like playing it cool. So it was probably like weeks went by, and I finally received a phone call from one of the managers. The manager was called and asked me, hey, do I want to, come in for an interview? And if I'm still interested, I said yes, obviously, of course. So we scheduled the interview, and, I really didn't think I had a way of even like thinking of or how to dress or what to say or anything, but I had to do my research. So that's what I did. And I went in for my interview very early, and, we had a good conversation. It wasn't, bad or anything, but it was a good conversation. So after the interview was over, I got I'll call you, don't call us spiel, like that's what we get. I was like, okay, sure. A few weeks Later, I got a call, said, hey, you got the job. Would you like it? I was ecstatic, very happy about it because, I will finally start working and getting my paychecks, my very first paycheck, and hopefully more paychecks after that. So I was very happy. So I started working on a Friday night. That was my first time working a Friday night. Now, imagine your first night at your job ever, first job ever, working on a Friday night in a kid's establishment. Can you picture the chaos? Because, oh my goodness, it was chaotic. Well, I mean that in a way where there was just a lot of kids and a lot of parents and a lot of customers. It was a lot. So, I had to do what I had to do. I trained, I learned all the areas, I learned everything. But then I had to come back again on Saturday, and that was the same thing. Train. More people. So it was definitely an experience. Okay. And of course, with the people, there are different personalities, and not just the parents and the kids, but also the coworkers and the management. Yes, different personalities you have to work with because, hey, that's a workplace. You have to work with different people. And that's okay. That's okay. We're learning. We're all learning to work with each other. And that's what I did. I was learning to work with them. And they weren't learning to work with me. So we can, work together. But it's still a kids' establishment. There's still going to be a lot of things. So you get it, right? So after learning, many weekends later, I worked there for some years. Some years. And I enjoyed it. It was okay. It was definitely a first job. I didn't really see myself like working up in the job, but it was definitely a good experience for my first job ever. So, highly recommend working and going for your first job, especially if you're, of that age, like a junior in high school. But yeah, definitely go for your first job if you haven't already. I'm sure you did, but if you haven't, go for it. So, fun fact, learning this job, I actually found out about my potential and future career path, which is human resources. And it was so funny because I guess I overheard it in a conversation and I had no idea what human resources was all about. I was like, okay, HR, what is that? But I overheard it in a conversation, and I guess from then I just wanted to learn more about it. And I think actually one time I actually researched HR to just get an idea. And I didn't really take it seriously then, but I take it seriously now. But before then, I was like, okay, HR. Okay, sure. What is it? And I guess, there I learned about what it is, that they help employees and benefits and all the stuff. So very interesting how I learned about it in my very first job, because I really didn't even think it was going to be that serious for a first job ever. But eventually I learned that it will get serious. So I learned HR there, and I liked working there. It did help me a lot. It helped me learn some things as well. So this is what I take from this job. I learned about patience. I also learned about customer service and hard work. Also, I think those were the three things that I can seriously say that I have learned from my first job ever, because patience, obviously, you're dealing with a lot of people, different personalities, different people, different everything. So you gotta get that patience going, okay? And then customer service, obviously, you have to bring on that customer service. You have to, help others and be nice and courteous to others, and just really go out of the way for them. They're customers, and they're spending their hard-earned money, and they want certain things to go a certain way, right? So customer service, I definitely learned from this job. And then, of course, hard work, because let me tell you, it was not an easy job at all. And I think all of my best friends can attest to that, because it's so funny. After my first best friend got the job, I got the job, and then my third best friend got the job. So we all just worked together. So it was very comforting to work with someone as well. So if you have that opportunity, it's a good feeling and it's a good time, but it's also a lot of work. So just letting you know. So those are little things that I took from my first job, and I don't regret it at all. And it actually helped me to get to my first corporate job. So I'm going to take a little break, and when I come back, we'll get into my first corporate job ever. After this. Okay, so my first corporate job. Wow. Okay, so first, before I get into this, I just want to give a little advice to those who haven't got their first corporate job, or still waiting for it, or still, wondering why I haven't got hired for my first corporate job ever. I just want to give a little advice. And this goes to any job too. I recommend an internship. Okay. I actually did an internship before I got my first corporate job. And I just want to say it really helped a lot, because I had no idea what HR was about. None. I had no idea. And I think the internship helped me understand a little bit, because when you think of HR, you don't really think of, paper pushing and all this, all the stuff. When I thought of HR, I thought, okay, I'm going to just have a desk, and employees are going to come to my desk and talk to me, and and it's just going to be like a very, chill thing, right? I was absolutely wrong. It's not that at all. HR has so many factors to it, and I'm so glad and very grateful that I got that internship, because it brought me back to reality very quickly, I must admit. So my advice is to get an internship. So coming back to my first corporate job, I needed this job, and let me tell you, I was applying day in, day out, people. Okay. I was applying, and, I didn't get the jobs right away. I didn't get the job right away. So I kept applying. And then one day I applied for this job, and I didn't know how far it was. I didn't really care. And I just decided to apply. Okay. And I did look over the job description, and I did look up the company. So I was like, okay, how hard can this be, right? Man, oh man, it gets harder. It gets hard. So I applied, and the HR manager called me and asked me the question, like, you do know this is far, right? I said, yes. And you're still interested? I said, of course. I mean, I was really interested. So the HR manager said, okay, well, come in and we'll have an interview. So I did. I came in, I had the interview with the HR manager, and I nailed it, I thought. And a few weeks later, I got the call that I was going to be hired for the position. And I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this is happening. I got my very first corporate job, and very interesting. It was very interesting because it was actually in the field that I wanted, and it was actually a good start. So I was very excited. So here comes the first day. The first day, I was expecting so much more. I was just, of course, it's always like a fantasy versus reality with me. So I was really expecting, okay, like a grand desk and, meetings and, very first days type of things. No, I got a tour on my first day. Of course, I got a tour. I also got a desk, and then I got training and from the previous person that had the position. And I didn't expect that. I did not expect such hard work. I was like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. That's fine. It was still the paper pushing. I had to organize things, background checks and interviews. I had to schedule. I had to do a lot. Okay. And of course I wasn't expecting it, but it happened. So still very grateful, but just, my fantasy was really different because I really wanted to just be like the head boss and sit at the table and at the meetings and, having all the employees come to me for questions and answers. And it was very, very different from what I expected. But nonetheless, I still did the work. And, again, once you do the work, you deal with the different personalities, and that's what happens. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Even though it was very far, I don't regret it because it helped me gain a lot of experience. And also the internship actually helped me with this job because it was kind of similar to it. So it was easier than I thought. But still, I had to just do a lot because every day it's different too. So you have to, dot your I's and cross your T's because it was the only way to be organized. So did I think that I was going to stay there a long time in the first corporate job? I did. I thought I was going to stay there for a long time, but I decided to get something a little bit closer because, once you get your experience, you can find something closer, and that's what I did. I mean, the drive was kind of getting to me, but I had to do what I had to do, just like you would. So I would have loved to because I already knew the company and I already knew like the policies and procedures and everything. But then I was like, okay, maybe get something different, Bridgette. So I did, and I got something closer. So, but I do not regret it because, it had its perks, and it had its great qualities about it because it helped me get the job closer to the other job that was closer. So I do not regret it. So I'm going to just take another quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back and we're still talking about my first job and corporate job. So these jobs were what I needed in my life. I think that they helped me build my career. It helped me build towards my goal, because honestly, I never thought that I would think from this first job, learning about HR, to like actually working in the field. I never thought it would happen. And believe me, I had many other different plans for my career, but this just made sense to me, the whole HR thing. So I do not regret it. I do not regret it. So the jobs did have some similarities and some differences about it. It taught me a lot about different things. So the corporate job, it actually taught me about 3 things: professionalism. I would also say office politics. If you know, you know. And being organized. Organization, definitely. Those were the 3 things it taught me at my very first corporate jobs, because you need to have all these things in, while you're working. And I'm sure there's other factors you would need to, obviously. I'm just saying. But those 3 things did stand out to me in my corporate job, because, you always have to be professional, obviously. And you always have to be organized, obviously. And you also have to learn about the office politics. I can have a whole other episode on that, but you get it. So I do believe that those things actually shaped me for the other jobs I was going to have in the future. So I don't regret that as well. So I do say that the first job and the corporate job were very similar, because they did teach me little things about the workplace. They were different, obviously, because, this was a kids' establishment, and my corporate job was actually at a juvenile detention center. So very different working places. And obviously the pay was different, obviously. But it also had different personalities as well, and once you work with different personalities, you can work anywhere. I'm just saying. What else did I learn about these jobs? I learned that, there are different management styles as well. Very different. Every manager is going to have different styles, and you just have to work with them as well, and I also learned that there are different policies and procedures in a workplace, because it doesn't matter if it's your first job, your second job, or your first corporate job. There's just going to be different things about them that you have to learn, and you have to process, and you have to, enforce. So especially in HR, but you get it. And that was very interesting, because I had to learn so many things all over again, because they're your first job ever. So you got to adapt and roll with that. So I think these jobs that we all have are just going to teach us so many things. So, always reminisce and remember those jobs, because they are important and they will help you shape your career. So that's what I take from those jobs, is just little things. The little things are very important to remember. So I am going to take another short break, and I will be right back. Okay, coworkers. Well, it's about that time, the end of the episode. So sad, I know, but I really want to learn about your first jobs too and your experiences. So I'm going to leave the email in the description, and I want to learn all about it if you're comfortable enough. So if you want to share your experience or you need any advice or anything, please comment an email, and that will, start the conversation going. But I really want to know, does anyone remember if their first job and their first corporate job, and how did that go? Like, how was that experience? And are you still with your first job? Did you, end up going up in rank, or for your corporate job, did you end up being an executive? Started from your first job to an executive. That's a good story too. So I want to know. So go ahead and email me and let me know. And I can't wait to hear all about it. So thank you for coming along on this journey with me, because, we all just need to have a little reminiscing moment. I know I do. I do a lot. So it's great. So I highly suggest it. So thank you, coworkers, for coming along with me and for listening to this very second episode. Oh my goodness. Already the second episode. I can't believe it. So I hope all of you coworkers are doing very well. And I did say last episode if I had some resources for you to check out. So it's going to be in the description as well if you were unable to. And also always go to your HR department and ask for resources too or the EAP program. That would work as well for you. If you need help, please get help if you do need help. All right, coworkers, that's all I have for you. So have a great week. Bye.